Book your driving lesson now
at dla-driving.co.uk.
Sponsored by DLA Driving Schools.
Hello and welcome to Over in the Town. Very valuable 3 points for Luton Town, I'm sure you'll agree, as we sealed a win in a game I've heard described as scrappy, lucky, uninspiring. But actually, I don't really care how we get the points as long as we get them. We'll talk about the game in a little bit more detail. Also, tales for unscrupulous agents at Luton during the transfer windows. That's revealed in Gary's programme notes at the weekend. And I think that might explain at least why we had a couple of people exit rather quickly this season, and maybe why we didn't get any others, which we discussed on previous pods. We'll have a little dig into that as well. In addition, we asked you, does the whole result restart our season? Or was you a little underwhelmed by it? We have your 3-word reviews and much, much more. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll already see we're one down tonight. Pataro's not here. He has other things he has to deal with. But with us is Darren and Steve. Thanks for coming over, boys.
Good to see you.
Hello.
Tough old weekend, really, but 3 points well-deserved in the end for me. Because I say well-deserved, Darren, don't pull that face at me. Because of the way we dug in. That's all I was going to say, because of the way we dug in.
Yeah, it reminded me of a performance from a couple of seasons ago, the season we got promoted. You know, grinding out those 1-0s, chucking your body in front of it. So, yeah, I get what you're saying, although I do think Hull were probably the better team.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a pretty game. We will talk about that in a bit more detail. Steve, we talked the other week about the agency transfer windows, and Gary Sweet in his programme notes has basically said exactly what we said a week or two ago.
Well, I think he's obviously watched the pod and thought these guys know what they're talking about. Yeah, no, I mean, it just has to be that way, doesn't it? The higher up the pyramid you go, the more money involved. Therefore, money brings out, the wrong uns and corruption and all that. So, yeah, there's going to be. Agents, and I think we said agents would have been coming to us saying, "Oh, this player, but all Premier League money and all this lot," and it was never going to happen. And that's why I think it does look like we've had bad transfer windows, and we probably have based on what we wanted to achieve. But
I didn't read that just as incoming. I read that as outgoing as well. I read that as if there's people bandying our players around just to unsettle. And maybe that unsettled the squad, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's no secret that I think Ted Mengi wanted a move away, and I think everyone after the season expected it to happen because he had a really good Premier League season. So that was a surprise. Who else do you think, though, then, Dave?
No, I just think that, unsettling the squad in that way, sort of unscrupulous agents. What is an unscrupulous agent? Someone who's trying to line their own pockets for a start.
Yeah, I think
and push in there playing, I can get you a better deal here, I can get you a better deal here.
I think the Ogbene one happened in a blink of an eye, didn't it? It came out of nowhere. Big money. I don't think we're ever going to turn that down.
We're never going to turn the money down, Darren, are we? Because we've been that club that has developed players and sold them on, but we didn't really need to sell him.
No, we shouldn't. I think we spoke about it on the previous pod or at the end of last season saying, well, we shouldn't be a selling club now. But I think equally you look at the value to the player and like we said, you can't turn that kind of money down. But that, for me, I know the club always keep things tight to their chest anyway, but that came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and you do just wonder about the agents, what's going on.
Just getting involved.
I think at the time that happened, we done a pod. It was within 1 or 2 days, and I thought as soon as I heard the money that was on offer, I thought I would absolutely take that money because he didn't have 100% belief in his pace. So he was a typical winger. You didn't see often enough for me what he was capable of doing. He didn't influence enough games for me. So as soon as I heard or I knew what the money was, there is no way Luton were going to even hesitate to take that, in my opinion. Because I thought that was good money for a player that flat to deceive some of the
But
times.
potentially, he'd have been really good in our team in the Championship, potentially.
Yeah, potentially.
We're missing it because we don't really have much pace. He was the one with a bit of pace. You look around the squad, probably even the squad now. Arguably, I think Mengi's probably our quickest player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was quick at the weekend at times as well, and had to be quick at some times to cut those chances out. I just feel that, look, we always say we don't know what's going on at that level. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes because, it's not for us to know, You don't go and ask another company how they operate, do you? You just get on and use their products. But as a fan, you think you're entitled to know. Well, you're not. You're not entitled to know, but we want to know because you're not entitled to know, Steve.
You're financially and emotionally invested.
Of course you are. Yeah. And for the whole of your life. And we said this last week, the only people loyal to the club are the fans. And you know what? We've got fans in control of our club, which is a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good to hear bits, though. I think that's the thing. I wouldn't say it's been radio silence, but we haven't heard from the board for quite a while. So it's good to get bits.
Well, what do you expect? Just out of interest, what would you expect to hear? I know, let's not go too deep because we've gone right off on a tangent here. But what would you expect to hear? What would you be happy to hear from the board? Because at the moment, what have they got to say? They've backed the boss. We're trying to get going again. There is no transfer situations at this moment in time. So what would you expect them to say? It's a difficult one.
It's true. I guess I was harping on a few pods ago about Edward's well-being and things. I think they could have been a little bit more vocal about that. But then
he looked very well on Saturday.
He did. From his pre-game presser thing, I thought he's clearly been away. He's either been on a sunbed or he's been away because he had a bit of a tan back. He's had his hair cut. He looked like the old Rob Edwards, didn't he? I was. In fact, it got me a little bit excited, thinking, "Here we go! Right, this is it. We're back."
I've only listened to the interview after the game, and he was a little bit sort of giggly and deliriously happy. So I imagine there's an awful lot of relief in that.
That's great to see, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I'd much rather have it that way. I mean, everyone wants him to do well and achieve and turn it around. No one wants him to fail. But there's been an awful lot of concern because he hasn't been well. Things haven't been right for him, and it was blatantly obvious.
Thoroughly enjoyed the reception he got when he came on. Mm-hmm. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I hope we can all just push on now and get on with it. Get on with it. Talking of which, let's push on and get on with this one. Let's have your 3-word reviews from Luton Town 1, Hull City 0. Mark says 3 valuable points. Alan, a much needed... Well, he didn't say A, did he? Alan, much needed win. John, what a relief. Johnny, points over performance. Lee, here's an old adage, paper over cracks. Richard, must win 1. Up the Luton, 2 poor teams. LTFC, Dave, who needs win-backs? Dave, a clean sheet. And finally, Dan... Now we build. If you'd like to take one of those, boys, and I can guess what Darren's going to say, so we'll go with Steve first.
3 valuable points. Yeah, that's. We can take a couple of things from the game as we sort of go into it, but the key thing
was not to lose, given the fact where Hull City are. And do you know what? When you look at the table now, even though it's false because of there's not much of a gap, I'd rather be where we are than where we started. And, it makes it look good.
It's a bonkers division.
Isn't it?
If you've got the right fixtures and you hit a bit of form, in a month you can go from bottom right up towards the top. It's really crazy.
Darren, what's your 3 words? I shouldn't have interrupted. I thought you were going to say paper over the cracks.
You thought I was going to pick it, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
I don't want to pick it.
Okay.
I don't want to pick it.
So are you going to
even though it's a really strong contender?
Yeah, don't be a cliche, Darren.
I'm not going to be a cliche then. So I'm going to go with John, what a relief. I just think we all needed it. Because there's one here, look, Johnny, points over performance, which again we kind of needed in isolation. But we're going to talk about the performance, I'm sure, over the next few minutes. So I think mine, what a relief for Rob, for everybody, knowing what games are coming up as well. We just needed to get the job done and needed to get the 3 points on the board.
I love statistics when you can manipulate them for your own good. 2 wins out of 3. It's not a bad effort, is it? 2 wins out of 3.
No.
And had we not have been such a disastrous performance at Middlesbrough, then it would have been a better show.
And we say that. Look at Oxford got absolutely turned over by Middlesbrough.
6-2.
Yeah.
6-2. And I'm not saying you can't excuse the performance in Middlesbrough. It was poor, and we all know it's poor, and you have to put that one to bed and forget about it. Now.
Yes, we discussed it, haven't we?
Yeah, but had it not been so disastrous, then we might have been looking at 2 wins and a draw, or might, and we'd be going, actually, we're doing all right now.
But isn't that the subtle difference between building consistency and this horrible paper over the cracks thing? Because whilst we've got like a win, a draw, a couple of defeats, whenever there's a win that comes sporadically like that, it's always going to be called papering over the cracks. We need to put 4 or 5 games together where there's solid performances and getting the results that we deserve out of them.
So if we get something from our next 2 games,
yes,
have we restarted our season?
Well, yeah, if we go to Leeds and get something and then go to Norwich and get something, you've got to say that is a stellar 3-game block, haven't you?
Or 5 games. Or 5 games. And we know a big team that hasn't won for 5 games, don't we?
No.
Ergo, we're better than them.
Yeah.
4 changes from the Middlesbrough game. Burke, Morris, Krause and Nakamba in for Bell, Woodrow, Baptiste and Hashioka. We understand Bell was really last minute. Hashi probably getting back from his international duty a bit knackered, I would imagine. So
what happened with Bell then?
I have no idea. We just don't know. He wasn't available.
But isn't it just typical? He seems to play every game for his country, but half the time he's injured for us.
I don't know. I'm not party to that info, and I don't know what happened. But clearly, something's happened. Did it happen in the morning? Was he not well? Was it? You just don't know.
It's just disappointing because he's so pivotal to our balance. I feel, without him, we're a shadow of a team, and we're just not seen enough of him lately. So yeah, it was really disappointing, that one.
So Darren, when we looked at the lineup at the start, and you looked at that back 4. And you looked at who was there, you're just thinking, they're all centre-backs, aren't they?
Well, first of all, I went, we're playing 4 at the back, which got me a little bit more excited. But then I went, well, hang on, 4 at the back with 4 centre-halves. It's a bit worrying. Burke being back is brilliant. You can plonk him anywhere and he'll do a job for you. I really rate Burke. So yeah, it did get me a little bit. I was, we were all trying to work out and then wondered where Bell was, whatever. But I thought it looked decent. It looked good on paper, didn't it? The team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought Holmes had a poor first half. I thought he was done for pace a couple of times, and the amount of times he was holding the guy, 2 arms on him. I thought he's...
Yeah, but do you know what? And this is what really frustrates me about football and people who comment on football, like us, and it's a contact sport. But it isn't, is it? Because
not in that regard, it isn't, no.
No, because, you put your arms around it, you can almost cuddle a player in a corner and you won't get nothing against you. But, you're trying to keep the ball from, I don't know, when you're attacking, like Morris trying to hold the ball up, he can be thrown to the floor. And I know he's prone to going down. But, and it's not a foul. It's given as a foul against him most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, Holmes was just so obvious, and it was just an easy decision for the ref to give a free kick against it. And when you do that, you're talking about a booking as well. I just thought he had a poor first half.
Horrendous weather, horrendous storm, Bert, or whatever it was, and dull. Even with the floodlights on, it was pretty dull, wasn't it? And it sort of set up the game really as being dull for a Luton supporter. But Hull were pretty quick when they started, weren't they?
They were, but I don't know how. I was expecting us to be quicker. I really thought, after we were saying about the Edwards interview, I thought Edwards spoke really well, and I thought, okay, we've got everybody back on side and good reception, and I thought we were going to start really strong, and we didn't. And I don't know whether we gave them the opportunity to play well. Hull passed it around quite well.
Quick as well.
They did pass it around quick. Equally, they've got no end product. The chance they had, they just kept putting wide and whatever. They looked good in a sense, but then I guess looking back at it and watching the highlights, actually, they're not a great team. It was 2 very poor teams.
I was worried when they started with the ball and that we couldn't get the ball, we couldn't keep the ball at all. for the first 5, 6, 7 minutes, we sort of just couldn't get hold of it. They was pinging it around the pitch. They were quick, like we should have been at home. I think I even messaged a couple of people going, I feel like we're the away team. I feel like we're the away team. And, you know, for all of that huff and puff, you're right, Darren, they didn't create much, but they created one really quickly. And had that gone in, we might have been looking at a whole different game.
Yeah, I mean, over the game, there was 3 or 4 real gilt-edged chances that were all wide.
Particularly in the second half.
If
you think about that first 10 minutes or so, they had that chance at the very beginning of as you look at the goal from your end at Kenny end, the right-hand side.
Yeah, it was a little bit difficult for him because he was ahead of the near post. So he actually sort of hit it just at a right angle. So, because I think when you sort of attack the near post, if you're past it, it makes it really difficult to put it in. But he was close, so it was a good.
We
chance.
shouldn't at home. Yeah, you expect if an away team's going to go for you, because this is what we'd expect, Darren. Right, the away team's going to go for you. You're going to give them a couple of minutes where they have their little flustered, and then you take control of the game. But that didn't happen with us.
It didn't. Whether that was, I'd say we had a 4 at the back. At times it did seem to drop into a 5. It seemed to change. But it did seem like Morris was up top with Adebayo. It did feel like a 4-4-2 at times. And then the midfield 4, so then you've got Nakamba and Kraus in the middle, who are fundamentally CDMs, aren't they? So then you're kind of going, well, how are we getting this ball forwards? I know.
Kraus has always got a forward pass.
He has got a forward pass, but he's sitting a little bit deeper. So you're playing 2 CDMs now. But so it shored us up. We've got a clean sheet. So, we can't be too critical with that. I just think, for me, I'd love to see 2 up top. Whether Adebayo and Morris together, you don't want to call players out. I thought Adebayo was non-existent on Saturday. Non-existent. I thought he had an awful game. But him and Morris were so far apart. Like you think of the traditional sort of big striker and little striker, and I know we'd maybe mentioned about Taylor not getting on again, but I'd love to see Taylor with one of them in a 2 and have them close together to get the flick-ons and everything. Those 2 up top seemed too far apart. They didn't seem connected. So every time the ball went up there, we couldn't retain the ball. We couldn't do anything with it. And Morris was getting frustrated. He was getting frustrated with the ref. And then we didn't have that necessarily playmaker, a Clark or a Walsh till later on in the midfield to get us going forwards and to do something.
There was Baptiste, wasn't there? But you can only make these passes if there's the right movement.
But then Baptiste was playing wide. Because Bell dropping out meant we possibly had to go square pegs in round holes. So you got, like we've said, we've got centre halves. Yeah, and Baptiste maybe was meant to start in the middle, but then had to go and do a job on the wing. But then I'm thinking, well, then you've got Moses on the bench. Why is if you're playing the right winger, why is Moses not out there? But Rob's made those decisions. I just felt, look, for me, I know I'm jumping really.
Yeah, I think I'd rather have had Baptiste there than Moses, to be honest with you.
On the right wing.
Yeah, because I don't think I've really seen any sort of level of desire and quality from Moses yet.
Okay. I disagree. I thought at Plymouth he played wide, he got his goal. He is a winger, whereas Baptiste is more of a centre midfielder. But I know I'm going on a bit, but I just want to jump ahead. For me, the game changed and we played some football and the crowd got excited after Walsh came on. Walsh played some football in that second half. He demanded the ball, which is lovely to see. And he pinged it around. He did a little flick round the corner for Chong. And that's what got the crowd excited because it was exciting football. He was creating something.
Yeah, breaking the lines.
Baptiste's corners were decent. We were worried about Alfie not playing. Baptiste's corners were...
Yeah, they were good.
His delivery was excellent.
Walsh's was superb. I know one went out for the McGuinness second chance, but Walsh's crosses were superb. I thought that changed it. So... that gave us a bit more impetus in the second half, and I think that's why we looked better in the second half. I think actually all the subs made a good deal of difference.
Yeah, and did it at the right time as well. Just going back to the Morris and Adebayo, well, I just want to go the opposite of that, because when Hull were pinging that stupid free goal kick routine, them two run their socks off. They literally run their socks off. And, give them some grief, but they pulled us in too quick there. That's what that's about, pulling them in. Adebayo and Morris are doing their best to hold up. There's no backup with them. There was one point where Morris was going, come down the pitch, come down the pitch, because they couldn't cope with that. Then they ping it straight up the other end and they've got an opening. That's why they do it. So I think, Adebayo's not what he was last season as yet, but that can come.
But then we're playing to them. We're playing to
I don't think
stop them. But do you know what I mean? We're the home team. I want my strikers to be scoring goals dominating, not work. Not. I know they've got to work hard because that's how we play. But I don't want that to be the pivot of their game. That he's in there because he works hard. I want my striker in there because he scores bloody goals.
To score goals, you have to have the right delivery. We had Hull had 64% possession. We had next to none in comparison. But it's difficult, isn't it? And it's frustrating because I know we've said this before. We know we can play better, but we just haven't clicked this season.
No, we haven't clicked at all.
With the Watford aside, we can't keep harping back. But Watford,
exactly. But there was a couple of times where Elijah lost the ball when he was trying to hold it up. One of them went on in the second half to cause the problem when they hit the post. That all stemmed from Elijah not holding the ball up well enough. There was one really good cross as well in the second half to Elijah, and he completely missed the header, his shoulder.
Yeah, just that's unlucky.
Yeah, I know it's unlucky, but at the end of the day, he's there to head the ball.
Yeah, well, I get that.
I'm
having to go at me now, Steve.
Well, don't.
I'm with Steve.
He completely messed that up. He has to do better there.
On another day, when it independently hits someone on the shoulder and it goes in.
As a comparison, then, Dave.
Okay.
Second half, I know it didn't count, but McGuinness has hit single-handedly the best volley I've ever seen in my life, like in the flesh. And that's our centre half that can hit a volley like that, and our striker can't header a ball.
Well, he can though, can't he?
I'm not sure.
Unlucky that
he can. He can when he's defending corners, but when we're attacking.
Oh, I disagree. I think you don't get to where you are in his career without being able to hit a ball.
That's fine, Dave. But that cross was from way out on the wing. He would have seen it all the way, and he completely missed it. Now, I'm sorry. It happens too often. He doesn't do enough of the goal scoring or doing things that would lead to a goal.
And if we think back a couple of games, trying to think, was it Jacob Brown's header from the corner? That's a header. And you just sort of think, if you put Brown there with that chance, does he score? We don't know.
Who knows? But what we're saying, he has to do better.
I'm saying to you, he can head a ball. He's mistimed that one. Any other, sometimes you see this in Champions League games, in cup finals, where people go out for a head and they don't head it, it hits their shoulder and goes in. And,
but isn't this what we're demanding? We're demanding more, the consistency. But you saying on another day isn't good enough.
Okay, but then he gets one chance and he misses it up. But if he gets more than one chance in the game, maybe he scores. So then you've got to ask yourself, we're not supplying him.
We don't generate chances. We're not. Exactly. We're not. The famous one was remember Andy Cole when he used to play for Man United, and they used to say, well, he needs 8 chances to score one goal or two. But they created that many chances. We don't create many chances, let alone clear-cut chances. So we need them to be clinical.
Can we talk about something positive? Thank you. Let's talk about the goal. Let's talk about McGuinness's goal. It was a decent cross in, wasn't it?
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, and the flick on, luckily, from a Hull player.
Yeah.
Right place, right time. I think on the day, I didn't really see that McGuinness slipped, but he did slip, but he connected well.
He did. It looked like he was almost sort of, I don't know, it's not falling into it because there was the change of direction with the flick on. It almost seemed as if he sort of just not fell into it, but almost like that's how he wanted to do it. I'm sure he did slip, but
it looked quite good.
He got a very good clean connection on it, and it was really nice. It was really nice because we were struggling to think where it was going to come from. So and He was chuffed to bits, wasn't he?
Oh,
Absolutely made up.
First goal for the club.
Yeah.
It looks like he really enjoyed it. It was a really important goal. Sublime cross from Baptiste.
Yeah, like we said, without Alfie there, you kind of go, well, who's going to take the corners? Like we said, he put in some nice corners. I think Walsh's were really, really good. I thought Baptiste they caused problems. They're a little bit flatter, a little bit more
drilled in.
In the right areas. What I loved as well, I wouldn't say we haven't necessarily seen it, but the celebrations after McGuinness's goal, the players will, they play it. We're saying about that them looking together as a team.
Yeah,
there were some great celebrations in there, and they were all delighted for him. Yeah. And we do we've given Mengi a little bit of a harsh time over the previous podcast, but I think he was right in there, really celebrating. I think Mengi was excellent. By the way, on Saturday,
he showed a lot more discipline and the right attitude towards the game.
Yeah, and when he plays like that, he's some player.
Well, I remember early on in the season against Portsmouth when we went down to 10 men and that. Portsmouth fans were saying that he was an absolute monster because there was a couple of times he put the afterburners on and just got back and just took the ball off their strikers who were going through, and they were saying he's a beast of a player. And we haven't seen that desire and attitude, but it was there on Saturday.
Yeah, he put in a really good shift with a couple of really big chances for Hull City. He did really well. Hull maybe should have sort of equalised 5 minutes after we scored. Pedro again heading, and he should have put it in. It was crossover. It was almost easier to miss, wasn't it? You're looking like you haven't watched the highlights, boys.
Well, it was dull. So
we've watched the game, then we've watched how on earth they got 9 minutes of highlights out of that is incredible, and I'm still struggling to remember it.
It came over. So your end, it came over from the right. It was all across the goal, right to the left-hand post as I'm looking at it.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And
it
was easy. He should have scored. He should have equalised.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
he should have equalised. Yeah. So I'm glad he didn't, by the way.
Yeah, but what he should have done there is led with his shoulder.
But had he done that, he might have gone in, Steve, and then you'd have been calling it. The chance we talked about already, Eddie Bale, was straight after the break. I think he was unlucky. You're saying he should have done better. I think he was unlucky. It just missed time. And I want to say this, despite all their possession, despite the way that Hull kept the ball, and they did move it a lot, and we were chasing shadows at times, they didn't create many chances. And you've said already that, Darren, that they just don't have that ability.
No, it doesn't look like they're lacking a bit of quality. Like the play was all right, but the quality wasn't there. And if they've got a couple of half decent players in that team, they probably beat us on Saturday. I don't think we've really seen anybody. I mean, Burnley first game of the season, but I'm just trying to think of other teams we've played. Nobody's really come and put in a great performance against us, have they?
No. Well, I thought the Watford performance was great from them.
Yeah. I mean, it's sterling effort to play that bad. But do you know, I'm thinking to West Brom and Sunderland, and I'm trying to pitch how good Hull were compared to them, and I just think there's like we were saying, it's a bonkers league. I think there's a whole lot of nothingness out there. There's really fine. So we're talking about fine margins and Adebayo's header. I think that's. You're putting your chances away.
Exactly.
You're in and around the playoffs.
I think there's a few good teams, and the rest are pretty much also rans.
Wow. Anyway, there's not much more to say about the game. Kaminsky made a great save off a deflection that was from McGuinness, wasn't it? McGuinness is sort of put his foot out.
In injury time as well.
Yeah, it was a good stop.
It was good. Drama got good ovation at the end of the game.
He did, and it makes me really frustrated that we didn't keep him. It makes me really super, because he actually stood out quite a lot on that pitch at the weekend.
Yeah, he was always there to receive the ball. He moved it on quickly. I think he put one shot wide, down at our
But don't forget, he spent the whole season right wing back for us, and he's playing left wing back because Giles, who's there, isn't getting a game because he's in their fans' words, not having a great season, not playing well. So Drame's playing on the left for them to make up for him. Yeah. So it's not really his position, but I thought, he looked one of their better players.
So we asked you guys out there, does this start our season, or was it another uninspiring performance? Before I go into the replies to that, what are your thoughts? Does this start our season, or do we just have to wait for Wednesday and Saturday to get out of the way?
Yeah, I think it's difficult to tell because the performance wasn't great. It's hard to think, yes, that kickstart our season. It might do in, look, let's settle down and settle all the fans down and settle Rob down. So I think in that sense, it will kick on a little bit. He's going nowhere, and that's put an end to it. So that's great. We were all hoping for a better performance, and then maybe we could say about it, but I don't know. Look, like you said, Dave, by the 5 o'clock on Saturday, we'll know.
I think it was uninspiring, and until we go on a decent run of performances and wins, it's always just going to be: is this the start? Is this the start? That's how it's going to be with all of our wins until we go on a run.
What about if we have such a crappy performance against Leeds United and get a point? So we play as bad as we played on Saturday, which everybody's saying, wasn't it a good game to watch? It wasn't. It wasn't exciting to watch.
No, it wasn't.
But if we come away after an unexciting game with points, I don't care.
Absolutely delighted.
Yeah, I can say I'll be absolutely thrilled with a point. That would be brilliant. But we couldn't then stand on that performance and that point and say, oh, well, here we go. Because it wouldn't be if we've...
But how long before we say, here we go? We've got a couple of home games coming up. We need to beat Swansea and Stoke. Mm-hmm. And then we go to Blackburn. All those teams are, in inverted commas, beatable.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, but we know when we're in a run of 4 or 5 or 6 games or whatever, where we've got wins and draws, maybe there's a defeat in there, but we'll know when we're starting to sort of turn it on more often than not.
I mean, you do the pre-shows, Dave.
Yeah.
I think when they start coming on going, oh no, we've got you guys this week. I shouldn't think anybody's worried about playing Luton at the moment.
No, I agree. I agree. It's just frustrating because again, I refer you to my previous comments that I've made all season, and people go, oh, you're a happy clapper, Dave. I don't care what you call me. We know there are some good players in our team. We have not just sparked at all, with the exception of one game. We have not sparked at all this season. I think that's the saddest thing because I think Gary Sweet in his programme notes said, expectations were possibly wrong. What did he say? He actually said, I think it was...
Too high. Expectations
No, I
too
don't
high,
think he said that.
or?
I just think that he said, I'll find it because I've got it on notes here somewhere. Talk amongst yourselves for a second while I look at it. Culture. Luton's culture has been under attack, and our culture was the Luton way. Get behind your team. We're all together, and then it's been under attack by fans, podcasts. Not just podcasts. Come on, people.
Anyone on social media, isn't it?
Social media is a really good thing to hide behind, and just say what you want to say because you want to vent your frustrations because you want your team to do so well. So, it's not just us guys, let's be fair.
No, I think we're relatively level-headed. Maybe maybe not.
Well, I'm not saying more than that. We did ask you guys, does this now start our season, or was it another uninspiring performance? And how many points can we get in the next 3 games? And I don't know anybody's answered that question. So we'll go with Ed. We grinded out a win, which is positive. However, it still wasn't a great performance. Our next 2 matches look daunting if that's the best we can do. I'd love Rob to turn it around, but the players don't seem to be doing their bit to help him. Fair enough. Andy says it wasn't a great performance, but it was a vital 3 points. I still don't think that the players get the tactics and formation. We also have 0 pace in the side. Morris was awful, constantly looking for fouls or falling over. We'll do well to get 4 points in the next 3 games. If we get 4 points in the next 3 games, I will be ecstatic. In fact, I'll buy you both a beer because I'll be drinking again.
Jesus.
I know, it's been a while, hasn't it? Jez says, whilst the 3 points was important yesterday, reality is Hull created more clear-cut chances than we did, and we were a little fortunate to get the win. If we're going to get anything from Leeds or Norwich, then the quality of our football has to improve, else we'll be reliant on scraping tight wins at home against the poorer teams in the division for the rest of the season and hoping that's enough to keep us up.
Which it would be.
Mark, it was another dire performance, but we got the win, which is the main thing. Good theme here. I'm not getting my hopes up. We all thought our season would start after beating Watford at home. Steve says, sorry to say, if we play like that against Leeds on Wednesday, it could be 5 again. We were lucky on Saturday and it could have easily been a defeat, but thankfully 3 points came our way. And finally, David said, I think we'll take winning a poor game with a bit of luck. by Hull missing some key chances. Whether it starts our season will depend on how we react if we go a goal behind on Wednesday against Leeds United, i.e. will we completely crumble like we did before?
Do you know what a good set of statements that is?
Yeah.
Really good.
It is exactly what we're thinking, though, isn't it? You know, look, we've been to Leeds before expecting not to win and done quite well. Let's be fair. We're just not on it. And maybe this is the big game. They're top of the league now. They've gone top of the league at the weekend. Maybe this is the game where we go, well, you know what? What have we got to lose now? We've got nothing to lose and everything to gain at this game.
Yeah, Sunderland were top of the league when we played them, and we should have got more out of them.
Yeah.
We shouldn't fear anyone in this league. We just need to find a way of playing away from home. I think we're sometimes a bit expansive and leave ourselves a bit vulnerable.
I wouldn't say we've been pretty soft away, haven't we?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see whether the Canberra can go again, but whether we get Krause and Canberra in there really locked down and try and be hard to beat on Wednesday.
The top teams are top because they know it doesn't matter how bad or good they're playing. If they're playing super bad, they still grind out the win.
Yeah.
And, you know, I look at Sunderland, I thought, you know,
They had two chances, didn't they, really?
And I think that. And then Leeds at the weekend were playing Swansea, and they go 3-3 in the 90th minute and they still win.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the team that's grinding out the results.
Yep.
And, you know, sometimes these results go the opposite way. I'm trying to be pessimistic here, and optimistic, not pessimistic, because that's terrible. I think it's going to be a very difficult game at Ellen Road.
Yeah, we haven't done anything there for an awful long time.
A couple of seasons ago.
Cornick's goal.
Yeah.
Cornick from a few seasons ago. That was an unbelievable goal.
Yeah, that was a great goal. Yeah.
That was something.
That was something.
Yeah, it was something. Yeah, that was what, a 1-1 draw, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's still something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's
I'm
unbelievable.
talking about a win though. Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, you're always going to get the odd draw here and there. You know,
I would take a draw at Ellen Road all day long.
Yeah, so would I.
Well, talking about that, we better get our scores. We get Jacob and Bataro to say. I mean, I know that 4 of us have got exact scores right, haven't we?
You have.
This season.
Yeah, has Jacob got one?
Oh no, he's only
I think you've got one.
I've got one.
Bataro's got. I've definitely got one.
I got the best one.
I will get one.
Yeah. Look, I'm gonna break with tradition and not go for 3-0 against Leeds, but I'm not going to back against us, and I know everybody else is going to, so I'm going to go 1-1.
Okay.
Take your time. Dead air is not good.
So I'm just counting. 4-0 Leeds.
4-0.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Steve.
Elijah getting all of them.
Off the back of his shoulder.
I even though we don't create many chances, I fancy us to score in every game.
Okay.
I don't see us getting anything though, so I think 3-1 Leeds.
Yeah, I know. You're just trying to win a competition. I'm just going with my heart, so I don't care. We'll do the other ones online, and we'll get them up there, and we'll get producer Jacob to do anything to put them out for us. It's a difficult one, isn't it? You know, stuff at the club. We want everything to happen. I've got to say, Krause, brilliant player, won Diamond Player of the Month.
Mm-hmm.
God, he's glad we got him, haven't we?
Yeah. It's he is obviously a CDM and that, but he's got a forward pass in him. He's got a great work ethic, and you know he does like to sort of drive forwards as well. So yeah, he's more than just a CDM. He's a good all-round midfielder.
And did you see when he was coming off after being substituted? He was getting the crowd going. He gets it.
Yeah,
and he wants us to succeed because he wants to stay with us. Come on, that's how I'm looking at it. It's been a good one tonight. I think we've had a little bit of a chat. Next 5: Leeds, Norwich, Swansea, Stoke and Blackburn. 2 away games on the bounce. Could do without that, but I think we've got to look at our home form as well and get them up. Can we get 9 points from that?
6 for me.
6.
Yeah, the 2 home games.
No, we might get something at Blackburn.
Well, I think you're going to be surprised, and you know, I know again, I'm dreaming, but I reckon we might get something from either or either or, Norwich or Leeds, we're going to get something.
And
Okay.
Norwich hadn't lost at home in about a year, and then they lost. I think they lost at home. And sometimes when these things happen, then when these records break, then they crumble.
Well, let's hope that happens, because
yeah.
we're winless at Elland Road for 9 games. So let's hope that because sometimes those things change, don't they?
I'm saying I'm not fearless. I'm not full of fear going to Norwich, to be honest with you, because we've done well against them, recent history, home and away. So I've got no problems with that one. But Leeds could
I think
be.
Leeds are
because they're
they're starting on their roll now. Aren't they?
Yeah, gonna say, and there's a relentlessness to Leeds, particularly at home, that they will not let up.
They won't make the same mistake they made last season. They won't, because they should have gone up last season and they blew it. So I think they've learned from that, and they've hit the top now. I expect them to be there or thereabouts for the end of the season. And I don't expect Sunderland to be second either. I suspect someone will take over those. But you know what?
Yeah.
What do we know about football? We only just talk about it every week.
Yeah.
I think that's enough from us tonight. And thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for coming up, chaps. It's been a pleasure talking with you guys.
Cool.
If you're not done already, like and subscribe on YouTube. That's really helpful. And if you're listening on the other channels, please just slip over to YouTube and have a look at that. And you can see what beautiful top Darren was wearing this evening. And we'll see you all again after the Norwich game, I believe.
Yep.
Unless we have a miracle score against Leeds, and we might do a quick special. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you again soon.
See you guys.
Bye.